Well, Solana's price has now officially reached an all-time high after a crazy move last night, and I wanted to make a quick video talking about exactly what is going on, why Solana is absolutely flying, how high I think it can go, and what I'm doing with my bag of Solana right now. So we have a good bit to get into today, but before we do, don't forget that if you do want to trade some Solana yourself, you can start trading today over on BTCC, and if you sign up and deposit with my link down below, guys, you're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and lower trading fees, all of which you can use to trade some more Solana. So check out that link down below and let's get into it. Now, as we can see here, Solana's price is now at $238, breaking into a new all-time high. Now, first and foremost, you may say, Tyler, the all-time high was over $250. This is not an all-time high. And the problem is that you're looking at the price, where truthfully, the real important all-time high is market cap. Because as the supply does shift and change and more tokens get released, it is going to change, of course, the way in which Solana's price reflects its actual value. And I like to look at market cap because the market cap is the actual size of the Solana token, not just the price. And what we can see here is that the market cap is now at $129 billion, which our previous high was at $127 billion all the way back in January of 2025. And if we look back to the 2021 high, well, it's not even close, which was at $71 billion. So an all-time high is indeed in place for the Solana price. And this feels great. As many of you know, I was buying Solana whenever the FTX crash had happened. The lowest purchase that I have recorded for the Solana price in my portfolio was down roughly it was right in this little September area, right around $19. I didn't catch the very bottom at 12 bucks. I had some buy orders in at $13 that didn't trigger, but the lowest official purchase that I did in my portfolio was at $19. And matter of fact, if we do go look at my portfolio, which I did just release over in the Discord, you can see that my total position for Solana at $238 is now up 785%, something I am very happy about, something I am very proud of. It is my second largest my second largest altcoin holding. And it does feel great knowing that I was willing to purchase in those times, and many of you were as well. You can go look at the videos from 2022 and 2023. We were doing a bunch of purchasing back then, and obviously it is now reaping the benefits. We're reaping the benefits of it. Now, one thing to consider actually that I just realized, this is a brand new tracking platform that I did upload my portfolio to. So it doesn't include the times where I've taken profit. So my actual P&L is higher than that. I think it's roughly like 950% because I have taken a lot of profit off the table for Solana. But based on my entry price compared to the current price, it's up nearly 800%. And again, it feels absolutely fantastic. So we love to see it. Again, it feels very good. And so kind of with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about why Solana is pumping. And then we'll talk about whether or not we think it's going to last, all that good stuff. So what we can see is that there's three core reasons as to why Solana's price is just absolutely flying. First and foremost, it's the NASDAQ listing. Or a NASDAQ listing that just recently happened. The second one is ETF hopes. And then the third one is, of course, upgrades to the actual chain itself. So what we can see is that according to recent filings, Solana Strategies, a Solana-focused treasury firm, secured approval to list on the NASDAQ under the ticker STKE. With trading beginning September 9th, which is of course a couple days ago, this milestone makes it the first Solana-dedicated company to trade on a major U.S. exchange, marking a step towards mainstream legitimacy. And that's obviously a huge step for Solana. It brings the credibility that it's been lacking for so long. Dude, we've been through so much in the Solana community. I mean, how many times did Solana go down? And everybody said it sucked. And then you got the Alameda Research and FTX situation. Everybody says it sucked. I mean, people said that Solana was one of the worst chains for years, and it's crazy to think about that now. But of course, Solana was able to be resilient. It stuck through it, it pushed through it, and made the adaptations necessary. And now it's, of course, having companies that are using it as a treasury listing on the NASDAQ, which is absolutely insane. Now, in addition to that, there's also a ton happening right now in terms of ETF speculation. What we can see is that the SEC is developing a generic crypto ETF framework, which analysts say could accelerate Solana's ETF approvals. CoinDesk actually reports that the approval odds for a Solana ETF have risen to 90% by late 2025. Now, personally, I'm not getting too wrapped into this mindset. I feel like that is just a random number that people have thrown out there, but there are some very important dates in November and December that could definitely impact whether or not there's a Solana ETF. And if there is a Solana ETF, that is going to drive a ton more institutional investment into the second most popular altcoin of all time. And so in my opinion, in terms of long-term metrics. And so because of that, I think it's incredibly important. And I think all of these things are driving a ton of buying volume over to the Solana price. Now, lastly, there has been network growth and there have been technical upgrades. Again, one of the biggest, I mean, dude, if you weren't there, you don't understand. But in like 2022 and 2023, I talked about Solana here on the channel every day. If you go back to my channel, it was like Solana thumbnail, back to back to back every single day. And as someone who supported it at that time, everybody always said it's like the worst blockchain. It always fails. It never works. Yeah, it's cheap, but it should be cheap because the blockchain sucks. They didn't pay enough money for their developers, right? Like it's just been, it was a crazy ride. And what we can see is that even to this day, they are still putting in the effort to make it better. On-chain data actually shows that Solana is currently leading the blockchain space with now 58 million monthly active users in August, which was driven by growth across DeFi, NFTs, and meme coins, with a total TVL of over 15.3 billion, which is just absolutely nuts. If you look at the TVL, which is the total size of the actual blockchain itself, you can see what's happened here. I mean, it's absolutely flying as the ecosystem continues to develop and get bigger and bigger, especially with many projects on the ecosystem, such as Jupiter, Jito, Camino, Sanctum, and many more cracking into the billions. I mean, even Drift and Marinator over $1 billion in TVL, which is absolute insanity. And so the ecosystem of Solana is just absolutely blowing up, and that is, of course, driving its price and its market cap straight upwards. Now, speaking of the price, though, Solana has even gone even further than that, and it's made moves that are very uncommon. What we can see is that Solana actually pushed through the top side of a structure that is incredibly hard to do. Incredibly hard to do. So what we can see is that Solana is so bullish that it's actually broken through the top side of a structure that happens less than 10% of the time in this instance. In a circumstance where a crypto is retracing in a period of macro stabilization as it is now reaching closer to a Fibonacci golden zone, so I'm getting very specific here, it has less than a 10% chance of breaking through the top side of the structure. It happens typically 8 or 9% of the time. But Solana doesn't care. And it took that and said, yep, I'm one of them ones that can make this happen 8 or 9% of the times. And it pushed straight through the top side of the structure. And it's guys, it's so uncommon for that to happen. It's extremely difficult. I didn't even think it was going to happen. Matter of fact, I was taking a little bit of profit off the table for Solana right here. I had a hedge short trade open just in case. Now, gladly, when that short trade pulled back towards $194, what we did is we actually closed the initial investment on that short trade, left only profit in just in case Solana made this move. So gladly, we didn't lose anything on this. We actually locked in a little bit of profit on that short trade, and good timing on taking out that initial investment because this bad boy just sent it up to 238. My liquidation was at 231, so stood very clear of that thing, and Solana train absolutely continued upwards. Now, the big question that a lot of people have is, well, is this pump going to continue, right? And that's what a lot of people want to know. Like, is Solana going to continue upwards? And it is in my belief that over the long term, Solana is going to hit those price targets that I've set years ago. So years ago, I was on here. Whenever Solana, guys, when Solana was back at around like 30 bucks, 27 bucks, I told people, I said, listen, if Solana's price can really recover, and if it can do the things I think it can do, I think Solana can be a $400 crypto one day. And I've kind of stood by that. And I am still under the belief that Solana can make that happen. Because truth be told, if you just look at this thing from a macro perspective, solely focusing on price and not market cap right now, we have just been in a little bit of a sideways range for a while here, right? And I think Solana's price can break through this. I think there will be a day where Solana makes that run up past that price all-time high and pushes up towards some of these higher highs. Even if you just look at the Fibonacci's, everything is set up perfectly for Solana to be able to make that move. If we go in, let's just actually get rid of our triangle here for now, as we don't need it at this moment. And we just look at Solana from a Fibonacci perspective. I mean, this bad boy is pushing up right now through that golden Fibonacci zone. And is it going to stay up here? I don't know, right? In the short term, it would make a lot of sense for Solana to kind of fake out, come back down a little bit, maybe then try to make another move. So in the short term, I don't know. I don't care about the short term. Looking at this thing for the long term, yeah, I think it's super reasonable that Solana's price can break all the way back up to this price all-time high, especially if we get ETF approvals, especially if institutions keep jumping in, and especially if it keeps seeing that mass adoption across macro companies, right? I see we push back up towards $297, and then we push further back up to like $405 and take out that 1.272 Fibonacci extension level. And again, what's crazy is that even earlier this year, I told you all that if Solana can break this golden zone, the door up to $405 is open. And now it's trying to make that move to open that door. And so I'm so proud of kind of just like what we've done here in this community, because I know so many of you who were buying Solana in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 24. And for these rewards to start being reaped, right? For us to be able to see the benefit of those hard purchases that we made, it feels very good. And so all in all, I think, yeah, long term, it makes a lot of sense to me for Solana's price to be able to make up towards $405, $300. I think that makes a ton of sense. And that's where I think it's going to go. And that's why even when I am taking profit on Solana in these moments, like right up here, I'm not selling all of my bag. I'm selling 2 or 3% at a time, 2 or 3% clips, locking in profit because that's what my strategy says. And guess what? I'm going to lock in some profit today. Even though I think Solana is going up to $300 or $400, I'm still willing to take profit off the table right now because I don't know that for sure. Anything anything can happen. Anything crazy could happen in the world. And we've seen that many times, especially over the last week. So of course, yeah, I'm going to still take a little bit of profit off the table, and I will always take profit as this bad boy continues upwards. But I'm only selling 2, 3, 4% clips at a time, leaving the majority of my portfolio open to reap the rewards of this move upwards that it is making, okay? So in the short term, guys, I don't know what's going to happen. Is Solana going to continue up? I don't know. Whenever you look at the 1 hour charts, what I can say is that it is starting to get very overextended to the top side. And typically when that happens, a lot of FOMO enters the market. It'll run a little bit further and then it'll drop. That's usually what happens. That's just a guess. We're going close to the weekend. I don't know. But you shouldn't really even be, unless you're day trading, that shouldn't even really matter to you. What should matter is the midterm and the long term. And in the midterm and the long term, I think that over the rest of this year and into next year, that Solana is probably going to try to push up towards these price all-time highs and maybe even further. And that's why I'm leaving the majority of my position open, but I am taking a little bit of profit off the table because the short term can be volatile. Things can get crazy, right? If we go look at CoinGlass, let's just actually take a quick look because I'm actually very curious now. If we go look at CoinGlass, let's look at Solana on the time frames. So Solana on the 1 day has a ton of liquidations below it, still some above it, which means it easily can push a little bit higher before maybe pulling back. On the 7 day, we're seeing a very similar picture. On the 30 day, I would assume, yeah, we're seeing a very similar picture. So there are a lot of liquidations below us, and that is going to incentivize the lizard people to want to liquidate some of those people with quick little pullbacks. So don't be surprised if you see in the short term little flash drops and flash crashes. That's just normal. But again, in the mid to long term, I think Solana has everything going for it to be able to be one of those ones, right? It has institutional interest, it has retail interest, its ecosystem is booming. It's the biggest, one of the biggest ecosystems in crypto. It's a perfect formula for an all-time high or higher, and that's where I think that Solana is going to go. So again, I'm very happy about this. It's going to be really cool to see the position up over 1,000%, which I think it's going to end up over 1,000% one day. We're already at, again, with realized P&L, we're already somewhere like 915%, but seeing Solana up 785% from those purchases that we were doing back then, it feels great. And I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of you guys who are in it. You stuck to it and you went by it. And so with that in mind, that's what's going on with Solana. That's the news. That's why it's making these all-time highs, and that's where I think it's going from here. Guys, I do post videos about Solana every single day over on my Instagram. As you can see, I posted one yesterday and the day before yesterday and the day before that. So feel free to go follow me on Instagram. It's called The Life of Tyler Hill. You can follow me down there. When you land on my Instagram, you're going to see a couple pictures right here. All you need to do is head to the Reels tab and you'll see my analysis. I post 12 videos every day, 10, 8, 12 videos every single day. Follow me there, and don't forget that if you want to trade some Solana, you can go get up to $10,000 in bonuses with the link down below. But all in all, I do appreciate you guys for always tuning in, always checking out the videos. And of course, if you have been enjoying the videos, guys, I do ask that you simply just go on, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. See you, everybody.